now completed our central body part of the butterfly, so we can now start moving onto the wings. So if I have a symmetrical design like this, I like to do both sides at the same time. So when I do this detail, I do the same detail on the other side. That way I contain a even design. I remember what I did from on the one side, I do exactly the same on the other side. So if we look at this butterfly wing, we've got a lot of sections in the wings. Do we need to look at what is on top of each other? So if I look at this big wing at the top here, it is subdivided into tiny sections with a lot of details on top. So we need to start with the highest parts first. So I'm going to start with this section of the wing here. And if I look at that, I have these curvy details on top of that section. And then on top of that, I've got these little dots. So I need to do the little dots first if I want to have them standing up. If I want to have them standing down, I can do them in the same time I do these ones. But I want to have them standing up, so I first need to do these little dots. So these little dots we're going to do using a ball and cup tool. So this is my ball and cup tool. It's got a tiny metal ball on the one side and it's got a cup side on the other side. You do not have to use the ball and cup tool. You can do the little dots freehand as well. You just do it in exactly the same manner as we did any of the other details. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ball and cup tool. So for the ball and cup tool, we need to work from the back of our design. So I don't want them to stand up too much. I just want a little bit of a raise there. So I'm not going to do them on my soft surface. I'm actually going to do them on my liner. So I'm going to turn my pewter face down and then carefully see where is that detail now. So I can't see them from the back, so I'm going to just mark them slightly from the front. I'm going to take that little ball and cup tool and I'm just going to make a little bit of a mark just so that I can see them from the back. So it's just a tiny little dot. That way when I turn it over, I can clearly see where I've marked them. So taking my cup tool on the back of my pewter, on my semi-soft surface, I'm holding it straight up and then I'm going to push down and make tiny circular motions. Not too hard because I don't want to press straight through my pewter. So straight down and a little bit of a circular motion and then lift up. I'm going to do all of them. And then I can turn my pewter face up and I can remove my liner. And we can now take the cup part and put it straight over and press down. That will tidy up the edges around. There we go. And I'm just going to see if everything is nice and flat. Then we can move on. If you did not get a nice solid edge around, you can now take your metal ball tool and slightly trace your little dot just to get a bit more of a crisp line around them. There we go. Now we can continue lifting up the design below these little dots. So if we look at that design, we have the curvy design and we've got all of these connecting curves that connects to each other. So I'm first going to do that curved design and then we're going to work our way down. I'm going to do the same on the other side. First we do the curved design and then do the curvy designs downwards. So working from the front of my pewter on my semi-soft surface. Again, I'm going to use my sharp tip Teflon tool, and we're going to draw in the curvy design using a medium to a hard pressure, and I try to work towards me, and I try and do this in one motion. And then I can do the other side as well. And then we can flatten the areas around. So we remove our lino, and then working from the front of our pewter, we're going to flatten the area around using our pepper stump. Being very careful not to flatten the little dots. And then using the tip of our pepper stump, we're going to just slightly flatten the inside. And then we can use our Teflon tool to define our edges. There we go. So I don't want sharp lines on these ones. I'm not going to do a detail line from the back like we did with the bumblebee. So I'm just going to tidy up the front. I've got more than enough height. And then I can move on to the next design part. And be very careful with these two little edges. They are going to become very thin because we're still working around this little head a lot. So I'm not going to define every time. I'm just going to keep it nice and tidy. And now we can continue with the next design. So back onto our lino. Working on the front of our pewter, so we can now do the first little semicircle. I'm going to do them on both sides. And then we can flatten. So we remove our lino and we flatten from the front. Keeping your paper stump as flat as possible to avoid creating any lines. And then I can tidy up. And then we continue with the next section. So we could follow this process until we finished all three of these and all three of these on this side. So working from the front of our pewter first, on our semi-soft surface, we first do the outlines. Okay, so that's all of these design sections done on the top part of our section here. I've got quite enough height from them there, so I'm not going to add any extra height. I'm just tidying up the edges around, and then I can continue with the next step. So, if I look at my design, the section of the wing has these lines in, and I'm going to handle them like little stairs. So I'm first going to lift up the entire top section, and then I'm going to do another one at the bottom and another one at the bottom, and that will create a little ridge moving upwards. So working from the front of our pewter, on our liner, I'm going to use my Teflon tool and I'm going to draw the outline of the top part. So first we do the outline of the top section. And I'm going to take it over the entire wing. You can also do the next one. Again, I'm taking it over the other sections that I've already completed to get one smooth line. And then we need to flatten. So we remove our liner and we flatten from the front using our paper stump. So I've got a tiny little bump forming there, so I've got a little particle stuck at the back, so I will, before I continue, try and remove that little particle, because that can really ruin any piece. There we go. So now I can continue. So I'm still working on the front of my pewter. I can now continue to flatten. And I'm flattening towards my design so that I can lift it up. And then we can tie it up. And you really want to get this edge now nice and tidy before. So I've got a little bit of height here so that I need to get rid of before I can continue. So I'm just going to flatten all of that height. There we go. Okay, so now I can define that edge. So using my metal ball tool and a soft motion, I define my edges before I continue with the next section. Right, now I can do the next little line that will follow below that first ridge. Back onto my liner, still working from the front of my pewter, I can now draw in the next section. Remove our liner and we flatten again. So on the front of my pewter, I flatten on my hard surface. You do not flatten on your liner. Again, I'm flattening all around. And then we can tidy up. There we go. And now we can do the bottom sections in the same manner as we did the top one. First we do the next one, then we flatten, then we do the next one and we flatten. So that's the next section of our butterfly done, and you can see that creating these little steps by doing one at a time, it did that wing at a little bit of an angle. So we've got a nice high ridge here, and then we've got a nice slope downwards.